I don't even know where to take him. Is serious at, is he a coach or is he playing?
What about this guy? Well.
Oh, Dr. J, man. Much respect for him. Played against him and tell you, man, it was a tough matchup. He's a tough coach, but I beat him last time, so I got a win off the doctor.
There you go. That was the Aliens a couple weeks ago.
The only win
in Boston.
Yep.
The win for Rick Mahorn's squad. Rick, you didn't play with any rules back in your day, but the key rules in the Big Three.
I tell you, those rules are always a plus. You have to follow and abide by them, but as the game gets longer, physicality comes out.
Let's do it. Big game for the enemies with Stewart, Crawford, and Austin against Richardson, Denman, and Stevens for Tri-State.
You know, Ed, in this league, you need to have guards. You got to have guys that can go one-on-one and set up other guys in order for them to win.
Crawford nails it. He's been that guy for the enemies.
I'll tell you, Crawford was a great addition for this team, the enemies. He can shoot the ball, plus he's a savvy veteran from being a pro.
Denman, oh, nice answer. This could be a nice flow.
Oh, these two guys can score. Dedmon can score those runners, one-legged shots, and it's just going to be a great game. But I'm looking forward to Jason Richardson being home.
Saginaw, Michigan, about 90 minutes away from Detroit. Isaiah Austin bumped. Denman last week, Rick, scored 31 for Tri-State in their win against Bivouac.
I'll tell you, when you can score, you're going to get nothing but, like just what Jordan Crawford just did. Going to get good shots, good open shots, and making sure that you knock them down.
5-3 enemies. Richardson in rhythm, nails the three. Good start on both sides.
Hey, listen, is anybody going to miss? This is one of these games where all the money counts, and I love it.
Elijah Stewart to his right. Snare ball. Didn't have to clear it, but it'll go in bounds to Tri-State.
When you got Jay Rich, you can get that dribble penetration, Dedmon, but that's when you finish like Jay Rich. I tell you, not only he can dunk, he can shoot that three.
Another all-star trip for Jay Rich next week in Washington. Tri-State 3-4, just falling a little bit short this year, but there's always next year in the Big Three. Crawford's going to get a free throw for two.
You know,
Rick, you were there the first year in 2019. Will this be the year for the enemies? Maybe the Ball Hogs as well. They face Trilogy next.
I'll tell you, when I look at Jordan Crawford, like I said, is a great addition for the enemies. Coaching them back in the day, I had Gilbert Arenas, and I was like, okay, Gilbert, can you play? And
Not
he
bad.
was like, no, he wasn't the hibachi. He was more like he was out of cold.
Speaking of guys, there at the beginning, Brian Scalabrine. Scout, you were there with the Ball
I'm just
Hogs.
letting you guys know I'm not taking any ball hog slander today. No ball hog slander at all.
You sure?
Yes.
Come on, I beat you so many times. I'm tired.
Good point. It's a new era, though.
I know, and Scals, from back then to now, the competition and the competitiveness has been outstanding.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that are just out of the league or guys playing overseas that really made this league what it is today.
Stewart, teardrops good. Rick, the enemies off to a nice start in what you could say is one of the biggest games in their history.
Yeah, but this is one thing. You can start off fast, and you see in the last couple of games, you can lose it really quick. But Jason Richardson has an answer every time that the enemies come with one.
Back and forth here in the early going.
When you see teams that are biting, you know, just on the fringe of getting a chance to win a championship, this is what you try to do.
Oh, straight up!
Austin will get a free throw for two.
And the thing about the enemies, they really don't have a big presence other than Isaiah Austin. When you have him in there, you got to exploit the other team that's not that physical.
Your year with the enemies, 2019 guys were 3-5. with Arenas, Royce White, Craig Smith, the Rhino.
The Rhino, the Black Rhino. He was really one of the most consistent players that I had that year.
Off the miss, Crawford stripped. Jay Rich for Stevens. Richardson, wide open, nails it. Tri-State, they tied the game. Nope, they take the lead.
Listen, Jay Rich with that jump shot being home. Home is good for him today.
Former Spartan back in Motown. Tri-State, they lead it in game 3. All these folks channeling the inner Jason Richardson with the outside shooting. Tri-State off to a great start. Jay Rich back in Michigan from Saginaw, part of the Flintstone squad that won the title with Michigan State in 2000. Cleaves, Charlie Bell, Mo Pete, Jay Rich with 9 in the early going.
And the way Jay Rich looks now compared to when he played looks the same. It's like he's not being a key reserve right now. He's the man right now, shooting the ball, making those threes, real confident in his game. Kind of wish when I was in Atlanta we could have drafted him, but that's when I was coaching in Atlanta. I didn't have those kind of the Atlanta Hawks. I didn't have that kind of juice to say get Jason Richardson.
I think you and everyone in NBA history can say, if only we drafted this guy, right?
Yep.
Crawford, pull up, missed. Jay Rich, 3 threes. Stevens strips, but fouled. And the guy who coached last year with the Aliens will get a shot for 2.
And you know, Deshaun Stevenson's been struggling with this Tri-State team, but you know, they got to utilize him in pick and rolls. When he's in pick and rolls, he's a great finisher around the basket, and that one was one of those plays that we ran kind of regularly last year.
He had a game last year, Rick, where he pulled down 19 rebounds in 1 game.
Yeah, that's what he does. He rebounds and he can stay in front of players. We lost the triplets, and he can do it, but Quincy Miller's one of those guys that can shoot the 3 too. Bigs that can shoot the 3s just like in the NBA. That only enhances your team when you got guys that can play one-on-one.
Tied at 14. Back to the rim, denied. Jay Rich. Was it off Crawford? Ooh, yes.
That would have been something special. When I tell you he can get up and get all the way to the sky, that is scary.
Ebanks along 2. Rick, triplets, or rather Tri-State with 4 threes. Enemies with 2, and nearly another for Ebanks.
And nobody's trying to get layups? Please.
Miller around the world. Couple of steps. Crawford, yes, on the stiff arm.
You know, Jordan Crawford reminds me of a guy named Earl of Pearl Monroe. He can put the shoulders into your chest and the great Earl of Pearl can get it done, and so Jordan Crawford is doing it off of just the short game.
Ebanks strips. Brother slapped the ball. Let's see if Kim brings the fire.
They're trying to give him two. I think Swaggy P is about to push the button. Yeah, there you go. I think this is a good call for Swaggy P, especially when it's these bring the fires. I love them because it's mano y mano, man to man, and if they'll let you play physical the whole time.
Ebanks against Crawford. Gets it back, leads in, missed it.
Just a little bit too short.
And Crawford got nicked, but he also got the stop.
Speaking of Nick, Nick's looking at him, asking him, is he okay?
Like as a coach, you love seeing players go one-on-one, but to have that challenge in your back pocket, like, it's gotta feel great when there's a play like that.
Yeah, you love the energy.
Off turnover, Ebanks will go to the line.
Wow. The physicality, especially when it's a lot of things on the line. And I just, guys just feel like they got to get it. And right now, Dr. J wants to get another player in, Ebanks, shooting the free throws. Doc's always, look at his shoes. Doc is so smooth. He's been like that since I met him back in '80. Not those shoes. Oh, those shoes.
Those shoes.
I think I'm going to get you a pair of those shoes, Ed.
Please.
Okay.
Rocking the Stan Smiths.
Some Stan Smith? Yeah. Who's that?
Plays tennis.
Oh, okay. I never played tennis before.
Rick, I don't think it's a good idea to get Ed those shoes.
Why not, Scal?
They're not for everybody, man.
Scal, he looked good in those shoes. Look at that.
Come on,
it's just,
Scal.
hey, man, it's just not for everybody.
Well,
That's
how
right.
about the shirt? How about the shirt,
Ooh,
Scal?
that's not for everybody either.
There's only one.
Only one.
Only one. Maybe two. Maybe Clyde. Frazier, that is. Not the commissioner.
Right now, Jordan Crawford is working too hard to get his shot off. Usually he tends to wear him out.
Jay Rich in and out. Ray Nixon into the game with the rebound. Quick three.
Look at this scramble. I love it. I love when they're diving on the floor. Austin diving on the floor, the hustle points, and this is what I like to see. Guys knowing that everything's on the line, they're diving for balls. That's just great.
Timeout. We'll stay here. We talked about Dr. J. Let's go inside the huddle with the one and only doctor.
Defense is trash. We're not getting any stops. We can't just trade baskets with this team. So somehow, we got to get a stop.
And he's right, because when you're shooting the ball like the enemies, when you're making threes, but it makes the game harder if you don't get any defensive stops. Those are hustle plays. And Doc's will won an NBA championship, and the championship is named after Dr. J anyway, so this is a time for his team. He's got a good team. They struggle sometimes, and this is the part of the game that you got to play some defense.
The man who helped legitimize the ABA, helped modernize the NBA, and Rick, he shot 51% from the field in his NBA career.
I tell you, the guy has hands that, like he's got an extra digit on him. Ebanks with a nice little two from that little timeout action.
18-16, Tri-State. Crawford off stagger. Turns the corner. Miller. What a shoot. Launches. Missed the rim. Violation.
Good defense. They listened to Doc out of that timeout. Doc did a good job of making sure that they get stops. And when you can get stops, look at the way that the hustles.
So for the enemies, Crawford, Austin, Miller against Ebanks, Nixon, and Richardson. Austin, no. Both shoot a free throw for 2.
You know, Austin can handle the ball. I love that he played overseas and didn't give up his basketball career just because of an ailment, because he loves the sport. But this is what the Big Three is about, giving the guys opportunities to showcase their skills.
Here's Baylor, diagnosed with Marfan syndrome, genetic disorder affecting body's connective tissue. Adam Silver at the NBA draft invited him, introduced him between picks 15 and 16, where he was projected to go. Nixon, whoa, rainmaker.
That was a rainbow. He had to get it over Austin's long reach because he can block shots.
Enemies down 2. Can the enemies with a win can stay alive for the playoffs? Tri-State eliminated. How about Crawford hangs and hits?
Talk a little home cooking right there. Jordan Crawford taking him to the rack and finishing.
Richardson sticks it.
Sag Nasty versus Detroit. That is like, that's poetic here, especially in the Michigan. There it is again.
Crawford, oh, little mano-a-mano, Michigan style.
I tell you, this is going to be one of those games where both of these two guys are going at it. You can see it, and the intensity is starting to pick up. There it is.
Jay Rich, Tri-State, next basket gets to the break. Nixon, no. And the enemies with a 3. We'll get it to 25. Here's Austin. Look at the length. Jay Rich for 3. Yes.
Okay.
The story of this first half with 4 threes. Tri-State looking to play spoiler here in Detroit.
Way to Jay Rich.
Over to Scow with Jay Rich.
Man, home cooking, huh?
Yeah, it's glad to be back home for my hometown fans. Got a lot of family friends down here, just trying to put on the show.
Shot is locked in, dialed in. You feel pretty good?
Feeling great, man. We try to finish the season strong. We still got a chance to make the playoffs and just try to get the win.
All right, good luck in the second half.
Oh, they've all hitchhiked from Saginaw, all come looking for a success in the Big Three. At the break, the enemies trailing 27-22 against Tri-State. More to come after these messages from O-Town. Halftime, Game 3 in Detroit. Final week of the Big 3 season. And Tri-State by 5 here against the enemies. And coming back with baddest bad boy of them all. He's Rick Mahorn. The shot making impressive in that first half.
Oh my gosh, you talk about home cooking, Ed. This is great for Jordan Crawford with 15 points. And you also got Jason Richardson from Saginaw with 16 points. And the shooting is tremendous. That's how quick you went to halftime. I wonder what it's going to look like in the second half.
Jay Rich, great dunker, but he was great shooter back in his day. Made 4 first half threes.
I'll tell you, Jay Rich is always an explosion. When he gets hot, he can shoot the three, but he's also can take you off the dribble. But you're so worried about him blowing by you, you just can't let him get those quick shots, and he makes those automatically. So that's what you have to look at. But this is good home cooking for both of these guys.
Jordan Crawford, more at the mid-range with 13 in that first half. Let's go back to Scout with some news on that first half.
Yeah, when Jason Richardson went out, he cleared, but one of the bigs in the lane did not clear. So they're going to leave halftime. You can take a look at it right here. You've got to get out of the lane. So because of that, the clearing violation, they put the score back to 24. But we're not going to go to another halftime. We're just going to play through it.
Wow. That's a first right there, Scal. I'm surprised they even called the clears.
Yeah, I think Swaggy P was all over it.
That's a big call.
It
mean,
is.
you think about a team fighting for the playoffs, that we'll keep an eye on if it makes a difference down the stretch.
Yeah, going down the stretch, that may just make the difference. But when you're a player coach, you got to be aware of what's happening.
That's coach feeling the swag, right? Feeling good.
No, feeling the the P, the Swaggy P.
Crawford, Stewart, Austin for the enemies. Stewart hits the corner tray.
And Stewart is one of those guys that can light it up quickly as well. A California native, and I'll tell you who Gilbert Arenas is very high on him when he took over the coaching.
Nixon with Ebanks and Richardson. Ball strip. Stewart, yes, and a foul.
Speaking of Stewart, he can really get cooking very quick. Stewart with a quick 7 points. And now Doc gets a change into the guards. Seeing Nixon out there and Ebanks, he know he needs some defense right now.
We didn't see much of Denman for Tri-State in the first half. Picked up 2 quick fouls. When you get 3, you have to sit. So now he gets Denman back in the game with his team earlier up by a couple, now trailing by 3 with that reversal on the Jay Rich 3.
Thing that you have to, when you do coach this game, you have to worry about guys getting into that third foul, then they won't be able to play. But hey, now everything's off right now.
There's a scoreboard off in the arena.
Speaking of,
Elijah Stewart with the free throw. So Stewart, nice burst early this half. With 8. Jay Rich came out, but he got it back, and he scores.
ooh, he got up, man. It's good to be kind of young. When he can get that elevation.
Tied it up. Now says Tri-State will take over. Come on, Rick, get out there.
I'll tell you, when you're out there, you're throwing it up there, you go, that's what you throw the ball up there, Ed, and say, go get it, son. But I'll tell you, the recovery that Jay Rich, a quick bounce, he ends up getting the layup. A lot of indecision by the referees a little bit.
Stevens.
Not his game, but he had to take that shot.
Stewart.
That's his game. Isaiah Stewart really woke up. All right, now Doc calls a timeout. Isaiah Stewart really came out this second half coming to play. He's got 11 points right now.
9 since the break.
Elijah Stewart is really exploding out there, getting his feet together, making that three-point shot. That's what I said. You got to have great guard play in this league. You look at the triplets, they got the Pargo brothers and Joe Johnson, but even the Ghost Ballers with Mike Taylor, who had an excellent game, but Simmons played an outstanding game.
Here's where we stand in the Big Three. Top 4 making playoffs next week in Washington, D.C. Here's the triplets, Joe Johnson, Jamario Moon. They are the #1 seed with the win earlier today against Power. But the question, who are the other 3? Now the Killer Threes in a really good spot despite losing earlier against the Ghost Ballers. But the enemies, the Ball Hogs, Trilogy, all still alive.
Still alive, and the thing is that if everybody ties out, they go by the point differential, and that's the crazy thing. You want to make sure you score, but also you want to make sure you get stops.
Jay Rich for Dedmon, open for 3, got it. Go with Jay Rich, someone's going to be wide open.
Yeah, somebody's going to be open. That's why you got to have good one-on-one play where if the team defense collapse, somebody's got to make that shot.
Stewart, ooh. Stewart loaded up this half.
Big boy ball right there. He's really feeling it. You know, don't have to worry about Jordan Crawford, but here, this is what you have to do. Continue to play hard. Ooh. He's on fire.
You know, usually you work into a half, work into a Big Three game, first half, and now both teams coming out firing. Richardson, here's Crawford for the rebound. Releases, hits it.
And that's what you have to do is it's the fact that they got it going. Good timeout. Yeah. Tell you, when Jordan Crawford, now you're worried about Stewart. Crawford comes on the side and makes that 3, gets the hustle ball.
He's got 16. Another 3 ball. The enemies up by 8 against Tri-State.
Welcome back to Detroit. I'm here with Nick Young, Swaggy P. Now listen, when your guards are going off, why don't you just go over there and hit the fire button? I mean, that's what we're looking at right now. These guys are on fire.
For sure. The energy just changed. We were playing a little too timid earlier. You know, we felt the pressure a little bit, but I told them to loosen up and have fun, man. We've been doing this all summer.
The momentum changed when you asked for the clearing violation at halftime. How'd you know that happened?
I see there's people over here, but I feel like that's the break we needed, you know, and it's work for us.
All right, good luck second half.
Oh, Swaggy P. Rick, how about the record as player coach? 3-1 without Gilbert Arenas.
Uh-oh.
Look, Dedmon the fake. The 4 missed.
Yeah, that did change the game.
4 to shoot. Austin, fade away, 3, nails it. Did he ever?
You talk about a hot 18-5 run. I mean, this is, you know, ever since they called that backcourt clearing violation.
Jay Rich, short for 4. Crawford with the big stuff back in Detroit. Timeout.
Hey, listen, when I tell you complexion of the game has changed, when you got Stewart and you have McCray who can score and like Jordan Crawford, you can just do anything you want because now you're worried about them. But now, when you look at Tri-State, they're back on their heels. Now they're tight. When you're tight, you don't want to play very fundamental basketball. And when you can get to the basket, right now you were worried about Stewart, then you got Austin hitting the 3, then you got, Jordan McCray at home.
Now they might take it away if they didn't clear the lane.
Well, from my angle, I think he did clear the lane. But then again, I'm over here. Okay, he cleared out. There he is. He ran back. Right now, Tri-State needs to score any way possible.
Defense, tough, shot off balance.
They need that score. They need to get a run going. But when you're on an 18-5 run, it's hard to get back in here.
Stewart strips. It's going to stay with the enemies. So the enemies entering play were a +12 in point differential. If they win now and add to it, that's going to be worth watching with the other 5-win teams. For now, that's the Ghost Ballers, that's Trilogy. It might be the Ball Hogs if they win. It is also the Killer Threes with what could be a logjam with teams at 5 wins.
And that's the best part of this. You have a guy like Clyde Drexler, the GM, that's going to decide. I was kind of caught in that last year with the Aliens, where you go, the records just, we had a bye week, and next thing you know, we clinched. And right here, they're reviewing this play to see if it went off the enemies. And Detman is trying to say that it is their ball. Ooh, looks like it all depends on how you're looking at it.
Hey Rick, you coached against all these guys. Of those top teams, do you feel like one team is better than the other going into the playoffs?
No.
Anybody can beat anybody?
Anybody can beat anybody. And I mean, don't get me wrong, the Triplets got Joe Johnson, but that doesn't mean a lot if the other players don't come to play. And you got to figure that they did that, to win that game. They had to go to Joe Johnson. The physicality of beating Power. Power's a physical team. And if I really think that if Flint Rice Jr.
After further review, the challenge is unsuccessful. Red ball coming in. Enemies loses their challenge. No more challenges left.
All right, Nick Young. Team leading by 11. Denman. Look down low. He bats. Missed it. He trips Austin inadvertently.
Was really trying to get that. Got to make the layup. You got to finish around the basket. And Scal, in this league, if you don't make those little bunnies, how frustrating that could be trying to play defense on the other end when you're down 11.
Yeah, you got to make open shots and you got to make layups for sure.
Stewart with 14. Can't add to it. Denman gets it back for 3.
Now, after the team started in the first half, a lot of hot baskets. Now it's like, okay, it's going to be a lull.
Crawford, nice finish.
Wasn't too much of a lull with Jordan Crawford with 20 points.
Ricky's made 8 shots. Nixon, pull up from 20's good.
They're going to really need some other points from from Nixon, from Ebanks. Jay Rich is on the side getting some rest. Good defense by Ebanks. They're going to review that. It's red ball. You know, Doc was about to lose his shoes on that one.
Can't lose those.
No.
Who's going to take them? Who's going to wear them?
Me. I'd wear them.
Denman look off. Fires. Hits.
If he didn't make that shot, it would have been not worth the look off. And right now, Jay Rich is getting some energy on the bench.
Crawford hovering at the circle. It's going left. 2 to shoot. Wow. Crawford again.
He had enough time. If it was 2 to shoot, he was going to get it up and got Swaggy P dancing on the sideline. On the court, that should be a technical.
Enemies point game. Denman no. Can win with 4. Crawford for 3. Yes!
Oh, no, don't do it to him like that, Jay Crawford. Oh, he's in the zone.
Quick triple.
Need to get the enemies in foul trouble, but the enemies only don't have any team fouls.
Boston, pick and roll, stuffs it, game over.
Game time.
The enemies alive and well for a spot in the playoffs.
Wow, when you look at the way the survival Sunday, the enemies are in that mix. This is what you play the game for. The fun and the excitement. When you see this, you worry so much about Stewart scoring and you worry about Crawford scoring. You leave a big guy like Austin getting to the basket, finishing the play, winning the game.
Jordan Crawford scoring 25 to lead the enemies. He is with Scal.
25 points tonight. I will say this, Elijah helped you out in the second half. How good is it to have a teammate to help you out as you're going along?
Oh, man, you can't do it by yourself. He really carried us most of the season. So I'm just here when he need me, get a couple buckets.
So what switched for you during this year? I feel like after game 3, you're unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, just preparation. Every week, going into the week, I'm doing what's needed to be ready for the game.
You're 4-1 with Swaggy P as your coach.
Yeah.
What kind of coach of the year?
Best coach in America. Best in America, baby.
Hey, I think, based off the score, I think we'll see you next week. Hopefully you guys do.
Yes, appreciate it. It's always good seeing you.
All right, good seeing you too. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Scal, the enemies improved to 5-3. Yes, coached by the best man in America.
Best man in America, huh?
Best coach in America.
Okay. In the big 3 right now?
In the big 3 right now.
Yeah, in the big 3 right now. But I tell you, you have to give it to them. They played a perfect game, but wow.
Final score, 51-38. Enemies over Tri-State in Detroit. Ball Hogs Trilogy. That's next from Motown.